The Australian landscape is a paradox, stunningly beautiful yet hiding a primal darkness. Beneath the sunlit deserts and coastlines, the bushland keeps its secrets where silence and isolation can turn to terror in an instant. For years, highways like the Hume were symbols of freedom for young travelers, hitchhiking with faith in the kindness of strangers. But in the late 1980s and early 1990s, that innocence was shattered. A shadow crept over the Hume Highway and the Belanglo State Forest became the setting for a chilling mystery. The name behind the darkness, Ivan Milat. He posed as a friendly local, luring backpackers into his car, only to drive them deep into the wilderness. The story of Ivan Milat is not just about one man's evil. It marks the end of an era of trust in Australia. The discovery of his crimes would forever scar the nation's psyche and leave haunting questions in its wake. The first signs of trouble were missing backpackers. Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters, last seen in Sydney in April 1992. Their families waited for news that never came. Soon, more young travellers vanished. Deborah Everest and James Gibson, an Australian couple, disappeared on their way to a music festival. Simone Schmidl, a cautious German backpacker, went missing hitchhiking south from Sydney. Gabor Neugebauer and Anja Habschied, another German pair, left their hostel after Christmas 1991 and were never heard from again. These were not reckless wanderers, but hopeful, careful young people whose trails went cold along the Hume Highway. Families clung to hope, but the truth was far darker. 7 young lives all vanished without a trace. The disappearances crossed borders and years, but the pattern was chillingly similar. The Australian dream had become a nightmare. Each missing person was a thread in a growing tapestry of fear. The authorities had few leads, only a list of names and mounting dread, as all 7 would be linked by a single sinister figure. Belanglo State Forest, a remote pine plantation, became infamous on September 19, 1992. Orienteers stumbled upon the decomposed remains of 2 women, Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters. Police soon found a second body nearby, confirming the worst fears. The brutality and concealment of the bodies pointed to a sadistic killer. A massive search began, combing the forest for more victims. Over the next year, more bodies surfaced. James Gibson and Deborah Everest, then Simone Schmidl, Gabor Neugebauer, and Anja Habschied. Each grave revealed a ritualistic pattern of violence. The forest was no longer a quiet place. It was a cemetery chosen by someone who knew it well. The nation was gripped by fear. A serial killer was at work. Belanglo's name became synonymous with horror. The search for the killer became Australia's top priority. The forest's secrets were finally coming to light. The discovery of 7 bodies launched Operation Findy, one of Australia's largest investigations. Detectives faced a phantom, methodical, forensically aware, and intimately familiar with Belanglo. Theories abounded. Was it one killer or more? The task force built profiles, cross-referenced evidence, and re-interviewed witnesses. A .22 caliber rifle and cable ties suggested a signature. The killer was organized but not invisible. He had to have slipped up. The investigation was a race against time, with mounting public and media pressure. Leads poured in, but most went nowhere. The case seemed unsolvable, the killer a ghost. Yet, somewhere in the haystack, a crucial clue waited. The breakthrough would come from a voice overseas. The Phantom's mask was about to slip. The breakthrough came from Paul Onions, a British backpacker who called police after seeing news of the murders. In January 1990, Onions had accepted a ride near Belanglo from a man calling himself Bill. The driver's demeanor shifted, and he pulled a gun, declaring a robbery. Onions escaped, running into traffic and flagging down a passing motorist, Joanne Berry, who took him to the police. His report was filed as an attempted robbery and forgotten until now. Onion's detailed account matched the killer's methods. He described the vehicle, the weapons, and most importantly, the attacker's face. Police flew Onions back to Australia to identify the suspect. Shown a photo lineup, he immediately picked out Ivan Milat. Onions became the first living witness to survive the killer's attack. His story electrified the investigation. The Phantom now had a name and a face. The net was closing in. Ivan Milat, one of 14 siblings in a notorious family, was now the prime suspect. The Milats were known for their criminal history, love of guns and fierce loyalty. Ivan's job as a road worker gave him knowledge of highways and the Belanglo area. Surveillance intensified. Detectives tracked his movements and tapped his phones. Evidence mounted, ammunition matching the murders, and links to items found at the crime scenes. Police suspected Ivan might not have acted alone. Some brothers shared his interests and access. The case was strong enough for a coordinated raid. On May 22, 1994, police stormed the Milat homes. Ivan's house was the main target. Officers hoped to find the evidence that would end the reign of terror. The final pieces were about to fall into place. Ivan Milat was arrested without resistance, maintaining an air of innocence. Inside his home, police found a trove of evidence, victims' belongings, camping gear, and weapons. A .22 caliber rifle matched the murder weapon. Ropes and cable ties matched those used on the victims. The evidence was overwhelming. Milat's house was a museum of his crimes. Despite this, Milat denied everything, offering flimsy alibis and blaming his brothers. He was arrogant and evasive in interviews, never showing remorse. The search of his home made the case unassailable. The friendly face had been a mask for a monster. The arrest marked a turning point. The nation waited for justice. The trial would reveal the full horror. Ivan Milat's trial began in March 1996, drawing national and international attention. The prosecution's case rested on three pillars: Paul Onion's testimony, the victim's belongings, and forensic ballistics. Onion's account was clear and unwavering, identifying Milat as his attacker. The defense tried to cast doubt, but the evidence was overwhelming. Items belonging to all 7 victims were presented in court, each a silent witness. Ballistics matched Milat's rifle to the murders. After a 15-week trial, the jury found Milat guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 7 life terms without parole, plus 6 years for the attack on Onions. Milat showed no emotion as the verdicts were read. Justice was served, but the pain lingered. The case left scars that would not heal. Ivan Milat spent his remaining years in Australia's highest security prison, Supermax. He never confessed, maintaining his innocence and filing endless appeals. Milat was a constant problem for prison staff, staging hunger strikes and self-harm to gain attention. In 2009, he severed his own finger in protest, desperate to remain in the spotlight. He never showed remorse or cooperated with police, denying closure to victims' families. Even as cancer claimed him in 2019, Milat refused to admit guilt. Detectives made one last attempt for a confession, but he died with his secrets intact. On October 27, 2019, Ivan Milat died at 74. He left behind a legacy of pain and unanswered questions. The shadow he cast over Australia endures. Milat's death closed a chapter, but not the book on the backpacker murders. Many believe his crimes began earlier and involved more victims. Dozens of cold cases remain. The question of an accomplice lingers, with suspicion falling on his family. The case shattered Australia's sense of safety, forever changing the culture of hitchhiking and travel. Belanglo State Forest became a symbol of horror, its name etched in national memory. The story of Ivan Milat is a chilling reminder of evil hiding in plain sight. It forces us to confront the fragility of trust and the darkness beneath normalcy. How many secrets died with him? How many families still wait for answers? The dust he raised on those lonely highways has never truly settled. What does it say about a society when its most infamous monster was just a man offering a ride? What are your thoughts on the Ivan Milat case? Do you believe he acted alone, or were there more victims and accomplices? Share your theories and insights in the comments below. If you were gripped by this undeniable case and want to delve deeper into the dark truths of other chilling mysteries, remember to like this video, subscribe to Undeniable Cases, and click the notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation.